In a past life, my childhood sweetheart passed the imperial exams as a third-place scholar only to marry another. When I confronted him, I became the laughingstock of the capital. My grandmother, ashamed of me, sent me to the family estate. On the way, I fell from a cliff and became crippled. My childhood friend took pity on me and took me as his concubine. Overwhelmed with emotion, I believed he still loved me. Yet after entering his household, I was cast aside in a remote corner to fend for myself. Only on my deathbed did I learn he'd married me solely for my generous dowry. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on the day of his betrothal. Yun, I've always seen you as a sister. I never promised to marry you, it was your misunderstanding. Besides, it's Xiao Shui I truly wish to wed. How can you take your anger out on her? Yun, this isn't like you. Apologize to Xiao Shui now. Don't disappoint me. The man's accusatory voice gave me a headache. Rubbing my throbbing temples, I opened my eyes to meet Su Jingqing's heartbroken expression. The moment I saw him, my anger flared. Without thinking, I raised my hand and slapped him across the face. Shut up. The gasps around me snapped me back to reality. I realized I wasn't trapped in that small courtyard, nor were my limbs broken. I stood perfectly fine on the ground. What was going on? Only when someone dragged me away did it suddenly dawn on me, I hadn't died. I had come back to life. Not only that, but I was back to the day before I fell off the cliff. Su Jingqing and I were childhood sweethearts, our families well matched in status. Our elders hinted at a marriage between us, planning for me to marry into the Su family upon reaching my coming-of-age ceremony and become Su Jingqing's wife. Su Jingqing was exceptional, handsome, well-educated, and had shown promise early on. Many noble ladies in the capital admired him, yet he showed affection only for me. With the tacit approval of our elders, I stayed by his side, caring for him as we grew up together. By the time I came of age, I was fully prepared to marry him, yet he delayed in formally proposing. I felt no disappointment, for he often mentioned his intention to establish himself professionally before starting a family, to marry only after passing the imperial examinations. To hasten his success, I secretly gathered rare texts from renowned scholars for him and asked my father to enlist his official friends to critique and refine his essays. Until this year, when he passed the imperial examinations as the third-place scholar. Just as I believed my wish to marry him would finally come true, news arrived that the Su family had come to the Li household to propose. Upon hearing this, I assumed the Zus and Lis had pressured him. I happened to encounter Li Shui, and we argued. The Li household guards shoved me, causing me to fall and strike my head. When I awoke, Su Jingqing had rushed to my side. I was certain he would stand with me, yet what I heard was his confession of love for Li Shui. In my past life, I left in tears, my grief so deep it made me ill. To salvage the general's family honor, my grandmother sent me away to a country estate outside the city. On the way to the estate, my horse bolted, sending the carriage and me tumbling off a cliff. I miraculously survived, but both my legs were shattered. Later, abandoned and neglected at the estate, Su Jingqing appeared, brought me back to the Su family, and granted me the status of a noble concubine. What I thought was redemption turned out to be an even more terrifying hell. Confined to the most remote, dilapidated courtyard of the Su residence, I was cared for by only 2 old maids. Under their attentive care, I lost both arms and became dependent on others even for feeding. Whenever I reached my breaking point and begged for death, Su Jingqing would reappear with soothing words, only for my dowry to diminish further. Yes, though I was a concubine, I brought an exceptionally lavish dowry. Only when my dowry was depleted and Su Jingqing never returned did I suddenly awaken. I had been blinded by Su Jingqing's outward appearance all along. He sought to marry me not out of affection, but because he coveted my substantial dowry. But I awoke to this truth far too late, dying in bitter resentment. I lifted the carriage curtain to gaze upon the bustling streets below. Thank heavens for divine justice, it had granted me a second chance. Kneel! No sooner had I entered the estate, still lost in memories of my past life, than a furious command rang in my ears. Third sister, you've been utterly reckless. Without consulting grandmother, you went to see young Master Su. Now look, it's become a scandal known to all. You've brought utter disgrace upon the general's household. Indeed. Now the entire capital knows of this shameful affair. How will the other sisters of this household ever find husbands? The reproaches came one after another, each pair of eyes glaring at me with fury. I remembered it being the same in my past life. Already heartbroken by the blow of Su Xingqing's betrothal, I was now berated by the very family I cared about most. Guilt overwhelmed me. So when grandmother suggested sending me to the country estate to recuperate, promising to bring me back once the scandal died down, I agreed without hesitation. Even when father told me I hadn't done anything wrong and urged me to stay in the capital, I stubbornly insisted on leaving the general's residence. In the end, I was left crippled. During my time at the estate, I regretted it countless times, longing for my father to come and bring me back to the general's mansion. But I never saw him. The only one who came was Su Xingqing. That's precisely why I followed Su Xingqing away without a second thought. If you ask me, we should send Yun Yun to the estate first. Wait until people have forgotten about this incident before bringing her back. That's reasonable. The Su family understands propriety. An apology would settle this matter. I looked at the two speaking. So it wasn't grandmother who suggested sending me to the estate in my past life, it was second aunt and third aunt. Setting aside the fact I'd fall off a cliff en route to the estate, revenge demanded I stay in the capital. Just as I opened my mouth to refuse, a towering figure stepped before me. Yun Yun did nothing wrong. Why send her to the estate? Seeing that broad, protective back, my eyes stung and tears spilled instantly. Ever since being sent to the estate in my past life, I never saw my father again, the man who cherished me, loved me, and held me in the palm of his hand. I always believed he was angry at me for being so unambitious, insisting on going to the estate, and that's why he deliberately ignored me. It wasn't until his deathbed that I learned the truth. It turned out he had gone to the frontier, bearing all his wounds, so that I could return to the capital with dignity and secure a good marriage in the future. He intended to earn military merit to secure my future, hoping the emperor would grant me a royal marriage decree. Before heading to the battlefield, he arranged everything for me. Fearing he might not return, he left behind an exceptionally generous dowry. He departed the capital early the next morning, completely unaware of the tragedy that had befallen me. Alas, he perished on the battlefield. He traded his life for the imperial decree granting me a royal marriage, yet I harbored resentment toward him for the rest of my days. Only when Li Shui came to mock me on my deathbed did I learn the truth. Su Xingqing sought my hand not merely for the lavish dowry, but because the emperor regretted my father's death. Riding on the military honors my father had fought and died for, the general's mansion regained its former glory, and Su Xingqing rose rapidly through the ranks. Only I was ground down, dying in that cold, dilapidated little courtyard. What I cherish most is not that I still stand here, but that my father is still alive. Eldest sister, do not be so presumptuous. When I was mocked and ridiculed, grandmother remained silent. When second aunt and third aunt suggested sending me to the country estate, she said nothing. Yet, after father refused, she scolded them. I knew she favored me, but I never imagined her partiality would run this deep. Grandmother, father is right. I did nothing wrong. I stood tall beside father, my chest puffed out, meeting the gaze of everyone in the courtyard. How ridiculous! With young Master Su already betrothed, you've become a laughingstock. What noble lady would dare show her face to question us? Now this scandal's all over town, known to everyone. You've disgraced yourself, dragged your sisters through the mud, and you claim no fault? The speaker was my second uncle's daughter, my age, who always vied with me, yet always fell short. In both past and present lives, she was the most vocal instigator. In my previous life, I would have been utterly mortified. Yet now, I held my head high. Sister, you claim I've become a laughingstock. But why exactly am I a laughingstock because Su Xingqing is betrothed? My fourth sister sneered, Su Xingqing became a third-place scholar and discarded you. Isn't that laughable? Those around us all wore expressions of agreement, while I turned my gaze to grandmother. Grandmother, you heard it. Everyone believed your granddaughter would marry Su Xingqing. Though the match wasn't formally sealed, it was long understood to be an engagement. You yourself mentioned it to me. Now Su Xingqing has broken the promise. He is the one who deserves ridicule. Why should I hide? Given the military merits of my family's ancestors and my father, marrying Su Xingqing was considered a step down. If not for the Su family's persistent clinging and the childhood friendship with Su Xingqing, why would I have married him? I am the legitimate daughter of the loyal and valiant Marquis, skilled in both literary and martial arts, renowned for my talents in the capital. I have no trouble finding a husband. In my previous life, it was my own self-pity and inability to see clearly that trapped me. This lifetime, no one will trample me. Well said. Father laughed heartily. That's my good daughter. Seeing my father's heart brimming with pride for me, my tears nearly spilled. Father, I'm not wrong. I will never hide again. Right. If anyone dares mock you, I'll beat them out myself. The servants in the mansion were somewhat afraid of father, dreading he might lose his temper, so they all fell silent. Father and I returned to the courtyard, where I firmly reiterated my decision to him, hoping to prevent him from throwing himself into danger again, covered in hidden wounds like in my past life. Not only did I not go to the estate, but the very next day, I walked boldly into the streets, daring anyone to mock me. Unexpectedly, I encountered Su Xingqing at the brocade workshop. He was picking out garments, flanked by several fellow Jinshi from the same year, who gazed enviously at the cloth in his hands. Xingqing, you're truly blessed. The brocade from the brocade workshop has become your exclusive domain. Seeing the fabric in Su Xingqing's grasp, my eyes darkened. Someone spotted me and let out a gasp, drawing the attention of everyone in the shop. Their eyes darted between Su Xingqing and me, clearly anticipating a spectacle. Yun? Su Xingqing seemed slightly surprised to see me, but quickly smiled and walked over, acting as if nothing had happened. Yun, I was angry yesterday and said some harsh words. I'm glad you're not upset. Su Xingqing was always adept at putting on a show, otherwise, I wouldn't have been deceived so utterly in my past life. Before I could speak, a mocking voice rang out beside me. And Yun, young Master Su is already betrothed. For you to cling to him like this. Your face is thick indeed. Whispers spread through the crowd, all about me. Su Xingqing's eyes still held that smile. Everyone, don't talk nonsense. I've always regarded Yun as a sister, and she sees me as an elder brother. Yesterday was all a misunderstanding. He turned to me. Right, Yun? In the past, no matter how much it hurt, I would have agreed with Su Xingqing, afraid to tarnish his reputation. Now, I just wanted to slap him. But after yesterday's slap, he deliberately kept his distance. The people beside us continued to laugh. So she's your sister, huh? If only I had a sister like the third young miss, I could wear Luyan brocade robes whenever I wanted. Su Xingqing laughed along. Yun has always been thoughtful. I stared at the two finished garments in his hands, made from the most precious fabric at the embroidery workshop. Only 5 bolts were available each year, aside from those reserved for tribute. Because father had done a favor for the workshop's owner, he sold me 2 bolts annually. And I used every single one of those 2 bolts to make clothes for Su Xingqing. Not a single piece was ever worn by father. Amidst the uproar of laughter, I snatched the garments from Su Xingqing's grasp. Mr. Su, I purchased this floating cloud brocade with my own money. To flaunt my clothes in this manner, is your face not too thick? All these years I've known Su Xingqing, even knowing what he'd done to me, I never imagined he could be so shameless. Yesterday, our betrothal fell apart, yet today he dares to come here so brazenly to take clothes. Su Xingqing's expression stiffened, yet his hands still clutched the 2 garments. Yun, I've already apologized. Stop this. I don't care for people who throw tantrums. Even now, he still tried to manipulate me. Su Xingqing, I never regarded you as a brother. Since you're engaged, treat Miss Li well. Also, your family's ambiguous stance allowed everyone to misunderstand that our families were betrothed, taking many items from ours. Now that we're no longer related, shouldn't you return those things? The Su family's ancestors weren't particularly distinguished. It wasn't until Su Xingqing's generation that they entered the imperial court, with the highest official holding a third-ranked position. Only then did the Su family establish a foothold in the capital. But compared to the depth of our Marquis' household, theirs fell far short. That's why over the years, whenever Su Xingqing needed anything, he'd ask me. The renowned tutors he hired were all secured by my father through favors and money. My father's actions were predicated on the two families forming an alliance through marriage. Supporting Su Jingqing was meant to secure a prestigious match for me. Unexpectedly, after Su Jingqing passed the imperial examinations, the Su family changed course and aligned themselves with the Li family. The Li family had produced an imperial consort, and they were now at the height of their influence. Su Jingqing's smile faltered, and the look he gave me darkened. Yun, I made it clear long ago that I've always regarded you as a sister. I never once mentioned marriage. It was your misunderstanding. Was it? I turned to look around. I wonder if you've all been misled like I was. In my past life, I valued appearances too much. I thought making a scene would be shameful, so I hid away at the estate only to meet that end. Compared to life and death, what is face worth? Those who frequent the brocade workshop are the capital's high-ranking officials and nobles. They're the most well-informed, naturally aware of the affairs between the Yin and Su families. Yesterday, news spread that the Su family had announced their engagement to the Li family. Word also got out that I went to confront them, sparking plenty of gossip about me. I didn't need to guess what people were saying. It was all about me being reckless and refusing to let go. If only they'd stopped to think, they'd realize I was the victim here. The Su family got away with everything and still played the innocent. After my reminder, many people glanced at Su Jingqing, their expressions shifting. I'd long heard Miss San was the Su family's chosen bride, to be betrothed once young Master Su passed his imperial examinations. Hearing of the Suli engagement yesterday came as quite a surprise. The Su family has received no small amount of support from the Yin family these past years. TSK. Already betrothed, yet they still had the nerve to take the shimmering brocade Miss San purchased? Su Jingqing may be riding high now, but that doesn't mean everyone is eager to flatter him. Relationships in the capital are complex, and many are waiting for the Li and Su families to fall. Su Jingqing's face darkened completely as he flung the shimmering brocade onto the counter. Miss N has misunderstood. You previously said you would give me these 2 sets of clothes, but now they are unsuitable. I was just thinking of returning them to you. I see. I'll retrieve my own belongings without troubling you, Mr. Su. Su Jingqing replied coldly, now that matters are clear, I hope Miss N won't misunderstand me again. I have no interest in you. Rest assured, there will be no further misunderstandings. I was mistaken before. I gave Mr. Su many things, might he consider returning them? Under normal circumstances, getting those things back would be difficult. After all, I gave them to him willingly. I refuse to accept that those fine items were simply given away. I'll demand them back in front of everyone. I won't believe he won't return them. Su Jingqing is a man who values his reputation. Fine. I'll return everything to you. Su Jingqing said this through gritted teeth, his eyes growing increasingly dark. His expression meant nothing to me. I let a small smile touch my lips. Yesterday, I noticed the hairpin in Miss Li's hair. That was borrowed from me by your younger sister. Don't forget to retrieve that for me too. Su Jingqing wasn't the only one from the Su family who took things from me. Su's mother and his sisters had borrowed quite a few items from me. They called it borrowing, but they never returned a single thing. I never imagined they'd give my things to Li Shui, whether to spite me or to spite her, I couldn't tell. The crowd grew thicker, faces wearing expressions that spoke volumes. None had expected the Su family to stoop to such a thing. Su Jingqing hadn't anticipated either that the gift his mother gave Li Shui as a token of their meeting had come from me. His face burning with shame, he flung his sleeves and stormed off. After he left, I picked up 2 sets of ready-made garments. Since father and Su Jingqing were vastly different in build, I entrusted the shopkeeper to sell them, hoping to recoup some silver. Returning home, as expected, another group awaited me. Kneel. Grandmother stood there, a matron at her side clutching a wooden rod as thick as an arm. I stood straight. What offense has your granddaughter committed? Where did you go just now? To retrieve the garments. I happened upon them being seized and settled the accounts. You insolent child! Do you think the Marquis's household hasn't been disgraced enough? Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted the Su family at the outer perimeter. They had come to lodge a complaint, no wonder the fury. The others wore expressions of schadenfreude, all waiting for my punishment. The Sue family commits such deeds without shame, yet grandmother finds it disgraceful when I speak the truth? Or do you dispute any word I've spoken? The old lady couldn't refute it, I'd only told the truth. You, third sister, grandmother only cares for your well-being. How dare you speak back to her? I looked at the speaker and smiled. What? Since marrying into the Lee family, have you forgotten your own surname? The Lee family was Sue's mother's natal clan. This marriage had been arranged by Sue's mother herself. In my past life, when I was sent away from the estate and the horse bolted, I'd always found it strange. That horse had been specially trained by father as a gift for me, never once causing trouble. Why would it suddenly go wild? But back then, I was helpless and alone, unable to investigate. I could only bury my suspicions deep. Now it seems clear that horse bolting was no accident. And later, when father never received word of my fall from the cliff, all of it was orchestrated by someone within the household. Was it the second branch or the third? They've been running wild, relying on the fact that our branch has no male heir. But the emperor refuses to transfer the marquis title, and they've long resented our first branch. Should father meet with misfortune, the marquis title would naturally pass to me. A chill ran through me, perhaps even father's death on the battlefield in my past life wasn't accidental. Father returned, and not only that, he publicly lost his mind. Grandmother could no longer punish me. As I followed father away, I caught grandmother's gaze fixed on him, her eyes flashing with hatred. My heart skipped a beat. Why would grandmother hate father? Back in our courtyard, I brought up dividing the household, feeling unsafe staying in the marquis's residence. Father looked troubled. Dividing the household is difficult. To be honest, I've long wanted to relinquish the title and take you to live independently, but His Majesty refuses to allow the title to be passed on. Why would His Majesty refuse? Father shook his head, unsure of the reason himself. My bewilderment deepened. How could the emperor interfere in the affairs of the marquis's household? Suspicion stirred, and I began secretly investigating the marquis's affairs. After mother's death, father never remarried. With only me as his child, the clan would naturally intervene, urging him to adopt a son to inherit the title. A woman held no such right. Yet the clan remained silent, and grandmother never mentioned it. Even when father would fly into a rage over my mistreatment, they dared not utter a word of protest. I hadn't pondered it before, but now the more I thought about it, the stranger it seemed. After arranging my investigators, I also had people look into the Sue family. The Sue family had deep entanglements with the Yin family, and they deliberately cultivated father's favor. They must be hiding some secret. Before the findings arrived, Su Jingqing showed up instead. With tensions between our families at this boiling point, by all logic, Su Jingqing shouldn't even be allowed through the Yin family gates, let alone a man from another clan, walking straight into my courtyard. Yun. My brows furrowed. Who invited you? Yun, don't be angry. It's all my fault. I apologize. Su Jingqing's attitude grew increasingly enigmatic. I watched him warily, guarding against any trickery. Seeing my distant demeanor, Su Jingqing sighed. Yun, I've reflected since returning. I understand you humiliated me publicly that day to get my attention. You should have spoken your mind directly instead of resorting to such tactics. Me? Was Su Jingqing mentally impaired? Yun, I've decided to forgive you. He continued monologuing until I cut him off. Su Jingqing, if you're mentally ill, go seek treatment. I'm no doctor, I can't cure your brain. Yun, don't be like this. It hurts me and hurts you. Your grandmother has already agreed with my mother that after I marry Shuer, she will welcome you into the household. I burst out laughing in anger. Was he still scheming to get his hands on my dowry like in my past life? Shuer and I have discussed it. She agrees to let you join us. Though you'll be formally a concubine, within the household, you two will be equal, both my wives. Su Jingqing boasted shamelessly, wearing an expression that screamed, "See how much I adore you?" His gaze made me sick. I charged straight at him and kicked him flat on his back. And Yun. Su Jingqing, you disgust me. Hatred surged through me. I raised my hand and began striking him. He'd practically begged for it. My maid slammed the courtyard gate shut and stuffed a cloth into Su Xingqing's mouth to stifle his cries for help. I wasn't done yet. Just as I finished beating him and was about to rest before resuming, footsteps echoed outside. Such an incident, what a disgrace to our family. The clatter of footsteps approached my courtyard. Without a knock, the gate swung open. Leading the group was second aunt, flanked by none other than Sue's mother. Since it's already happened, we might as well grant her wish. The two children grew up together. I've always held third miss in high regard, though it pains me to make her a concubine. At least she'll have a proper status. The gate swung open, cutting the voices abruptly. Seeing me sitting calmly in my chair sipping tea, everyone froze in shock. Why are you alone? Weren't you with young Master Su? I raised an eyebrow, piecing together the words I'd just heard. Something clicked. Second aunt, what exactly are you implying? Auntie's expression shifted slightly as she approached me with a smile, her eyes darting toward my room. I've learned of your affair with young Master Su. There's no need to hide it now. Call him out here. Lady Su will settle this for you. She'll ensure your wish is granted, that you marry into the Su family. I'd been wondering who'd let Su Xingqing in. Turns out they were setting me up. When the maid by Mrs. Su's side entered my room, I didn't stop her. I remained calm, sipping my tea. Moments later, the maid emerged and shook her head at Mrs. Su. Ah Yun, where is Xingqing? What do you mean, Madam Su? Could it be you can't find your son? You should report it to the authorities, not come looking for me. Madam Su and second aunt exchanged glances, both eyes flashing with disbelief. Yun, don't be shy. Madam Su has agreed to let you marry into the family. Young Master Su and Miss Li are already betrothed. Has Madam Su lost her mind? Ah, so that's why you're upset. Yun, don't take this the wrong way, but a girl like you wouldn't find a husband anywhere. Only because Madam Su dotes on you would she agree to let young Master Su take you in. Second aunt was about to pull me aside for more persuasion when a servant rushed in, flustered. Second lady, something's wrong. You must hurry back. Young Master Su. Young Master Su is in fourth sister's courtyard. Auntie Su left me behind, rushing back in haste. Fourth sister's marriage had already been arranged, and she was to be wed by year's end. If word of this got out, the crowd arrived swiftly and departed just as quickly, swarming after Auntie Su. I smoothed my robes and strolled leisurely after them to watch the commotion. When I first heard the chaotic footsteps earlier, I sensed something was amiss. I had someone secretly carry out Su Xingqing, who had been beaten half to death. I never imagined they would actually try to ruin my reputation. If they found Su Xingqing in my courtyard, regardless of whether I had beaten him, they would slander me for having an affair with him. An outsider appearing in a young lady's courtyard is already a murky situation. Then I might truly be forced to marry into the Su family. Fortunately, after suspecting someone in the household, father had left me with trusted servants who resolved the crisis in time. What I never could have imagined was that they would send the man to fourth sister's quarters. When I arrived at fourth sister's courtyard, second aunt was throwing a fit there, screaming that she wanted to kill me. She's truly heartless, harming even her own sister. Everyone saw it. Su Xingqing himself said he went to Yu's courtyard. It was that little slut who refused to be his concubine, so she plotted to harm him and my Lianer. I'd seen it all earlier. Among the onlookers weren't just people from the home mansion, but also today's guests. Now they pointed and gawked at Su Xingqing, whose face was swollen like a pig's head. Seeing me approach, they parted to make way. Enemies meeting only intensified the hatred. Second aunt charged straight at me. You wretch! You plotted against Lianer. I'll break your legs. The mention of legs made my heart skip a beat. Could it be that in my past life, it was second aunt who pushed me off that cliff? I wouldn't let her harm me. I shifted my body to the side, dodging her. What do you mean by that, second aunt? I was peacefully drinking tea at home. First, you brought people to my courtyard spouting all sorts of nonsense. Now, fourth sister is conspiring with young Master Su and trying to pin the blame on me. What on earth is she scheming? After speaking, I glanced inside the room. Good heavens. And Leonor was crying, her clothes disheveled. Even if she'd been discovered with Su Jingqing earlier, she had ample time to tidy herself before second aunt arrived. Yet her clothes were still disheveled now. Wasn't she afraid of being misunderstood? Or could it be, I raised an eyebrow. Could it be that Leonor was fond of Su Jingqing? That she wanted to marry Su Jingqing? No wonder she always looked down on me, mocking me whenever we met. Yet whenever Su Jingqing was around, she acted as if we were the closest of sisters. If Su Jingqing is the one she loves, it all makes sense. If she wants to marry him, I could even lend a hand. Huh? How did young Master Su end up in Fourth Sister's courtyard? Fourth Sister's clothes, ah. Young Master Su, you're already betrothed to Miss Li. How could you do such a thing? This won't do. Fourth sister is the legitimate daughter of the Yin family. You must give an explanation. Second aunt was furious and tried to strike me again, but I held her back. Second aunt, with all these people watching, shouldn't you be helping fourth sister get dressed? Only after my reminder did she suddenly realize fourth sister was not only crying but also still half undressed. Her expression immediately darkened. Su Jingqing, seated in his chair, regained his composure slightly and looked up at me. And you, do you truly wish to make such a scene? If you apologize and admit your mistake now, I might still give you a chance. Otherwise, I will never allow you to enter the Su family gates for the rest of my life. Even at this moment, he still believed I was merely throwing a tantrum. I had no idea where Su Jingqing got the confidence to think I couldn't live without him. Su Jingqing, we've long been nothing to each other. I made myself perfectly clear, yet you persistently ruin my reputation. I will have father go to the palace to see the emperor and beg his majesty to vindicate me. If this reached the palace, his position as a top scholar would be in jeopardy. No matter what the Su family schemed, I would never give them an opening. Su Jingqing stared at me in utter shock, as if I'd uttered some unforgivable insult. Yun, must we truly come to this? Young Master Su, choose your words carefully. And Leonor was still sobbing over there, lifting her tear-streaked face to look at me. Third sister, don't misunderstand young Master Su. He and I are nothing. The more she said this, the more it invited misunderstanding. With everyone watching, Su Jingqing might actually take in Leonor into his household. Since she wants to enter the Su family, I'll give her a helping hand. Second aunt, an outsider intruded into fourth sister's quarters and committed such an act. Alas. Though it brings shame upon the Marquis's household, fourth sister is still family to us aunts. Since she and young Master Su are so deeply in love, why not let her marry into the Su family? The two of them were beyond explanation now. Even if Su Jingqing didn't want to marry her, he would have to. This scandal erupted just as the Su and Li families had arranged their betrothal. Who knows how Li Shui will react? Moreover, Leonor was already betrothed. The Zhou family would certainly not let this rest. Second aunt was so enraged by her daughter that her face turned ashen. Su's mother looked equally grim. She shot second aunt a fierce glare before gritting her teeth and storming off. With such a major incident erupting, grandmother was summoned. They closed the door to discuss the aftermath, but I already knew the outcome. That very afternoon, I received word that the Su family had agreed to let Leonor enter their household as a concubine. She could have been a proper wife, yet she chose to be someone's concubine instead. The Zhou family's status wasn't particularly high, but she didn't know that later, a Zhou daughter would enter the palace, becoming the emperor's favored concubine and giving birth to a prince in the same year. By the time I died, that prince had already become the crown prince. The Zhou family enjoyed unparalleled glory for a time. I wonder if Leonor ever found out. Would she have regretted it? That evening, grandmother sent word for me to come to the Hall of Prosperity. And Yun, scheming against your own sister, do you know the gravity of your crime? Just like before, the moment she saw me, she was ready to condemn me. Grandmother, and Yun is unaware. With all pretense shattered, I refused even the veneer of politeness, fetching a chair and sitting down myself. Seeing my defiance, grandmother's fury boiled over. You, eldest brother, shouldn't you discipline your daughter? Leonor is already betrothed, yet she brought Su Chongqing, a stranger, into Lianer's quarters. What was she thinking? Father, having heard the full story from me, turned ashen with rage. I pressed his hand and turned to look at second uncle. Second uncle, I must ask you this. Second aunt stormed into my courtyard with a whole entourage, insisting Su Jingqing was here. When she didn't find him in the courtyard, she barged into my bedroom to search. What was her intention? Such blatant framing, she really has no sense. Auntie's expression shifted. It's clear you wanted to marry Su Jingqing. I was merely helping you. Hearing this, I sneered coldly. How convenient. I too learned that fourth sister fancies Su Jingqing, so I'm facilitating her match. Mother, listen. She's admitting it, she's the one who sent him to Lianer's courtyard. I made no further denial, wanting to see what else they had up their sleeves. The old lady's expression darkened, and she shot me a cold glance. You are the source of all this trouble, repeatedly bringing shame upon the Ho family. The original punishment was to send you to a nunnery to atone for your sins. Considering you've admitted your mistake and shown remorse, I shall give Lianer half of the dowry your mother left behind. This matter is settled. Before the matriarch called me, I already knew the outcome of their discussion. The Su family had agreed to take in Lianer as a concubine after Su Jingqing and Li Shue's wedding. Why would they suddenly demand my mother's dowry? Suddenly, memories of my past life surfaced. Su Jingqing had initially refused to marry me, yet welcomed me into his home after I lost my leg, all for the lavish dowry I brought. That dowry, prepared by my mother, consisted largely of her own trousseau. Now they demand I give in Lianer my mother's dowry. Could there be some secret hidden within it? Naturally, I refused grandmother's suggestion, and father disagreed too. They couldn't threaten us. Back in our courtyard, I shared my suspicions with father. His brow furrowed. Your mother instructed me on her deathbed that all her dowry must be yours alone, not even I could touch it. She even made me swear to guard it faithfully, forbidding anyone but you from touching it. I thought she feared I might remarry and wrong you. Hearing you say this, it does seem odd. Father, I want to see mother's dowry. The dowry was stored in a special warehouse. Father held mother in such high regard that he had it guarded strictly, forbidding anyone from entering. I unlocked the warehouse with the key. Inside, a thick layer of dust had settled. My maternal family were merchants, so mother's dowry was substantial, a full 128 palanquins. And there was no padding, it was a solid 128 palanquins, mostly filled with gold, silver, and jewels. It took me 3 full days to sort through everything, and I found nothing amiss. Had I misjudged the situation? Just as I was about to give up, my peripheral vision caught sight of a vase in the corner. My maternal grandfather cherished my mother, providing her with only the finest things. Yet this vase looked terribly worn, with visible chips around the rim. It wasn't an antique, making its presence among these dowry items quite odd. I walked over to examine it closely. Shaking it didn't dislodge anything, so I gritted my teeth and smashed it open. As it shattered, a letter tumbled out. After reading it, I finally understood why the Su family wanted my mother's dowry. To be precise, it was the Li family who coveted this dowry. My maternal grandfather's family wasn't ordinary merchants at all, they were imperial spies dispatched by the emperor. No wonder the emperor passed the noble title to my father, it was all because of my mother. The one who inherited my maternal grandfather's legacy wasn't my uncle, it was my mother. Before my maternal grandfather's death, he investigated a case with far-reaching implications, implicating numerous court officials. The mastermind behind it all was the Li family. By the time my mother uncovered the truth, the Li family had already produced a favored imperial consort. Given the emperor's devotion to her, even if the evidence were presented, the Li family would remain largely unscathed. Thus, it was decided to keep the information close at hand, waiting until the consort fell from grace before exposing the truth. Alas, mother passed away prematurely, unable to wait. She left a letter in her dowry, instructing father to keep it for me. When I turned 25, someone would come to inform me of this matter. In my previous life, I never lived to see that day. I died at 24, and mother's dowry fell into Li Shue's hands. This time, I will ensure the truth is revealed. 3 months later, Li Shui married into the Su family. A month after the wedding, and Lianer entered the Su household gates in grand style, bearing a lavish dowry. Though a concubine, her prominence rivaled Li Shui's. To lull them into complacency, I sent half of my mother's dowry to her. After the confiscation, it would be returned to the state treasury anyway, sparing it from further covetous eyes. After Lianer's arrival, I had spies watch the Su residence. Sure enough, I saw Li Shui secretly rummaging through the dowry. The Li family traced it back to her maternal home. What they didn't know was that on the second day after Lianer's arrival, I had father secretly retrieve the evidence from the place I had in mind and deliver it to the palace that very day. The emperor, who had long since taken a new favorite, flew into a rage upon learning of the Li family's heinous crimes. He ordered a thorough investigation into the case from years past, sparing no one. Su Jingqing, in his second month of marriage, was implicated by the Li family and thrown into prison. It turned out the Su family had colluded with the Li family all along. The principal offenders, the entire Li family, were executed. The Su family and the households of my second and third uncles were exiled for treason. Grandmother came before father, pleading desperately for him to save her 2 younger brothers. Mother, it's not that I won't help. His Majesty himself declared that no one may intercede. You refuse to help your own brothers. How heartless you are. Mother, I've made arrangements. They'll be cared for during exile and won't suffer. Hearing this, grandmother flew into a rage, drawing a dagger from her bosom and lunging at father. You're just as ungrateful as your dead mother, cold and heartless. I lunged forward, shoving grandmother aside. What do you mean? You're not my grandmother? Father was equally stunned. He knew grandmother favored his 2 younger brothers, never suspecting he wasn't her biological son. Seeing the truth exposed, grandmother bluntly revealed everything. She was actually my great-aunt, twins with my grandmother. But grandmother was frail and nearly died after giving birth to father. Fearing the loss of the Marquis's household as their patron, they orchestrated a switcheroo. Father and my second and third uncles were not even born of the same mother. I always knew they schemed against me in my past life. No one spoke of my fall from the cliff. Later, when father died in battle, they used his military merits to gain favor without a second thought. None of them ever considered me, the one in the Su family. They had long wished for father's death, so their own son could inherit the title. Even if the truth came out, father couldn't do anything to her. He could only lock her away in a room, condemning her to a life of solitary companionship with Buddha. Su Jingqing sent me a letter from prison through an intermediary. It was filled with remorse, a sincere apology, and a plea to see me one last time. I didn't go. Whether his repentance was genuine or not, I would never forgive him. On the day of their exile, I sat in a tea house watching their entire family paraded through the streets. An indescribable sense of satisfaction filled my heart. In my past life, I was confined to that dilapidated room, living a life worse than death. Compared to that, what they faced was nothing. After receiving instructions from the secret guards, my revenge had only just begun. The end.